Hello, beautiful. I am so pumped for this week's episode. Happy almost New Year. It is one day before if you're listening to this episode when it comes out, it is one day before New Year's Eve. So we're almost at the end of 2025, and I had to bring out the big guns for this episode because, I mean, this is a long time coming. We've talked about having you on the podcast since I started it, I think. And I'm sitting in front of one of my favorite humans on planet Earth, if not my favorite human on planet Earth. And we're talking about magic and how to create a magical life. And I feel like that is what both of us have done. Since I've known you, we both have just created so much magic and reinvented ourselves and been birthed into new versions of ourselves over and over and over again. It's been so beautiful to witness your journey. And I love you. Welcome to the New Truth Podcast, Farhad, AKA Fuzz.
Aw, thank you so much. Thanks for that introduction too. It's an honor to be on your podcast finally. Yay, this is so great.
Yay.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming to the party. This is the perfect time, it feels like, for us to do this together. I just feel like both of
Yeah.
us have created a lot of magic as of late. I mean, like I said, it's been happening for a long time, but this conversation, your most magical year yet, I feel like my life just keeps getting more and more magical, and I feel the same is true for you. Would you agree?
I agree. Yeah. I mean, it's always, I've always, since a young age, I've had so many kind of hardships in life. And to see me turn things around and make it magic is like amazing because I'm like, I had that choice to kind of
Mm,
stay in that kind of world of failure and things aren't going well. And then, I know what that trajectory could have looked like for me because I had that kind of vision around me with people in my life, my surrounding environment. And then I'm like, to be able to like choose the other way of being and then have magic come from it over and over and over again. And then today, still many years later, it's kind of like it's like a recipe. It's like, okay, I'm choosing magic and it's a simple recipe. It's such a simple recipe now that I've learned how to hone in those skills and remind myself of all the things to remind myself of to continue to expand the magic, So yeah, it's
yes.
been amazing. And watching you as well, like, inspiring individuals in my life. We inspire each other, so that helps to generate the magic as well, I think. So thank you as well to you.
So it's so amazing. I love that you said it's simple. It's like it takes practice. I think that's where people get tripped up is they want a quick fix or they want an instant gratification. And we've really been trained to have instant gratifications in the Western world. But it's so freaking simple. And what we're talking about, and we'll of course dive into all the ways that we create magic and how our lives are so magical and beautiful and aligned with who we really are and our souls. We'll share so much of that today, but I think that, remembering that I always say this, and I think people are like, oh, I just want it to happen and be done. But you would be bored if you just got to some arrival point. There's always more parts of ourselves to grow into and more parts of ourselves to meet. And it is simple. It's simple, but it's about being really present and honest with yourself and showing up for yourself over and over and over again, which I think you've done so beautifully.
Yeah, and I'm gonna, it wasn't always easy, that's for sure. It was hard,
Hmm.
choosing the path of maybe for me it was spirituality more and like immersing in like my practices at a younger age, like my yoga, my meditation, and the sound healing. So discipline in that form of like I want to commit to something that um nurtures my spirit in a way that I feel like, okay, like there is so much chaos around me and the trauma and all the stuff in my worlds that I found something that was a disciplinary thing daily that helped me stay connected to my body, listen to my heart, find more clarity in my mind with all the noise. And I think through that, because it was hard, like it's not an easy thing to do sometimes because I think a lot of times we don't put ourselves first. It's like a trained thing. We have to or untrain ourselves of how to like put ourselves first. And I used to think that was selfish. And then learning, okay, that's self-care, take care of yourself because it starts within. And then you can give it out authentically, right? Because I was always kind of like struggling and I didn't understand exactly why. And then when I found these practices, I could really internally move inward and realize like, okay, I need to like take care of myself, my health, my mind, my well-being. And then through that, I start to get more creative and explore and feel like I can do this and I can take this risk because why not? What have I got to lose? And I think the voices of the people around me who were maybe telling me I couldn't do something or all the kind of negative things to like not pursue something that was within me. I was kind of like, just let them say what they want, let them just talk however they want to talk. But I really learned to kind of build that sort of boundary and realize in myself, if it's something I really want and brings me joy, I'm going to do it. Because if I don't do it, I'll always wonder. And if I do it and it fails, let's say, if there is a failure or it's a lesson, then great, move on to the next thing, right? So I really wanted to like live my life. And well, the quote I always would be like, through my adversity, I gained strength. And I think that was powerful because I allowed change in any shape or form that it came in, good or bad, to be the catalyst of like making me stronger. And I learned more through it and it brought me to the next thing. So, with that mentality, it was like there are really no failures. It's like just follow your heart. If it brings you joy and it's something you want to do, we only have one life. So, like, live it up, do it, and learn from it in your own way that you need to learn. Like find the beauty in it if it didn't go the way you thought it would go. And if it does, oh my gosh, you just kind of keep going and building off it and creating more and more. So yeah, and that's how I kind of work today too. I just kind of like let it flow with that way of being. And it's definitely worked for me in a lot of ways that today I can look back and be like, okay, I want to share this with other people. Like this is amazing. You can do it. And there are going to be moments that aren't easy, but those moments are like you're actually living life. And let's learn from these moments and let's see where this takes you now or takes us now, right?
And it's just like, it's just such a fantasy that life is ever just going to be easy all the time. Like, you guys, come on, look around. Like, that's not the human experience. That's not what we signed up for. Our
Mm,
souls signed up for the contrasting experience. And like you said, we grow so much through the contrast. And yet life is guiding us. Like there is this heart and this light inside. And when something is aligned, we feel that resonance internally. And if you follow that, and you're willing to be uncomfortable and you're willing to grow through the challenge, there's so much available to you. And I mean, you've just done that over and over again. It feels like everything you touch turns to gold, but I think because everything
mhm.
you devote yourself to is coming from your heart and it's coming from divine guidance and it's coming from where you're led. And so that has um, I've never thought of this before, but I think with my journey too, it's like that has energy behind it. I'm picturing a wave carrying the surfboard. Like if you are going in the direction, you always use the word flow. If you're going in the direction that the wave of life, aka the universe, life, the unscripted path, the path that's meant for your soul that you're being guided to, when you listen to the guidance, when we're willing to say yes, and even though it's scary, even though failure could happen, even though you're gonna have to grow and get uncomfortable and all those things, you ride the wave. That's when life sends you another one, and watching your journey. That's what it's like. You're just on the surfboard. You're like woohoo, and you're in the middle of it, and it's just like the waves keep getting bigger, and you're like let's go, and the more you surf, the more confident you get surfing. Have you ever surfed? I'm totally picturing you
I
surfing
have.
right now.
I've surfed
Yeah.
one time in Hawaii because the water was nice and warm, and I would probably always lean towards warm water surfing, and it was
I
fun.
mean, most people don't even know cold weather surfing exists. I think only
Right.
Canadians know that
Yeah, Tofino.
about
Yeah, it's
Tavita.
like, yeah. No, and you said it beautifully. And yeah, like sometimes you'll fall off the surfboard and just get back
Uh-huh.
on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You'll ride the big wave, the little waves, and I think that's the beauty of life is we have so many things at our fingertips that we can explore doing. And I don't know, I just think like maybe, taking kind of like a moment to think of like are you happy in your day-to-day life and what could make you happy? Like just even writing a little list and like what are the things stopping you from being happy or finding your joy? Like what are the things? Like
Mm,
because I feel like there's always a solution that we can figure out a way to kind of work towards that do what you love what you do sort of concept
mhm,
because why not, right? Like why not try to move in that direction and take the little steps it takes or the big leaps and bounds, like the ride the big wave or the little waves until you kind of cultivate more of that life around you, within you, that can bring you the things you love to do. And life is short. We don't know when our last breath is going to be. And I mean, we've all witnessed that. Like majority of us have seen grief and know that it's precious our time here. And what we do here is, I think, really important. And one of it is exactly what you had said too, is like we've been gifted the senses, taste, smell, touch. Like we can dance, we can eat amazing food, we can smell beautiful aromas. Like we can experience on a level that's so dynamic and powerful and beautiful. So let's use that in sharing with ourselves and others in ways like for me, moving the body, dancing, yoga practices. I teach a lot of that, like freestyle movement. I love music, food. I love cooking and sharing that. Like these are all things I love, art, painting, and creating. And it's like I want to do things that inspire me and bring me joy because I will only then offer it to others in such a way because it's like I'm excited and it's like I want to share this because it's beautiful and I feel like it could spark some excitement or inspiration to someone who's like, oh cool, like I want to pick up painting again, or I want to pick up cooking or do that again, or I love that yoga class. That was so fun. I've never done anything like that before. Like we danced and I put on music and everyone's like they did not expect that. But just to throw in like get outside the box, try something new, and you never know. It might be that spark of the magic that hits you where you're like, oh my gosh, like I need to do more dance classes in my life or whatever it is. But like that's how it starts. And then it just builds and keep doing the things that bring you joy, inspiration, excitement,
mm,
inspires you to get up out of bed every day. Cause sometimes that's hard, but like find
mhm.
those things, those moments.
I
And I
love
think,
it.
yeah, and I think that a lot of time too, it can start from like your little bit day by day, like a little spiritual practice. Sometimes little meditation or sitting in your yard or going for a walk at the ocean, little moments in your day that can let you kind of investigate that inner knowing or wanting or desire
Mm.
within yourself. And then it starts to open up those doors.
I love it. Yeah, and it feel because your energy frequency, I'd say it's always light. It's oh, and you've been through so much, and yet you have this incredibly high vibration, and it always feels so joyful to connect with you. And there's such lightness of being, and I think. So many people are so dense and have really dense energy, but it's because of where they're hanging out. Like if you're hanging out in the stories in your mind about how much the world sucks and how everything should be different than it is and how you're the worst and they're the worst and blame them, blame you, whatever, you're going to feel bad. If you eat McDonald's every day, you're going to feel bad. If you like
Hmm.
what is your life look like? And so I love that the exploring new places is everything. I'm living in Kenya. I'm learning Swahili. I've taken 5 Swahili classes and it is so fun. It's
Yeah.
fun. I'm like giggling and it's playful. And every time I get into an Uber, I'm like, Nina Itwa Kate, Nina Toka Canada, Nina Ungea. And I just like recite the things that I know. And it
Yeah.
creates connection everywhere I go. And it's this like playful, light thing. And it's something I didn't know. I didn't even know I was ever going to come to Africa, let alone move here and learn Swahili. Like it, but it's this new place. Like, ooh, something about the language sparks my heart, so I'm going to follow that. And I mean, gosh, you do that in so many ways. I have a client right now who a woman I've worked with for who's amazing, magical woman. She just like all of a sudden felt curious about horses, and she's just like really curious, and she's gone down the rabbit hole. And now she's like, I have a feeling it's going to open up massive things for her because she's so in love with them. And every time I talk to her, she's more and more and more in love with horses and doing more things with them in different ways. And it's
Yeah.
been so beautiful to witness. Is like a year ago, she that wasn't even on her radar, and now she's a horse person and like going down the rabbit hole of falling in love with learning from these beautiful animals. So I just think there's like so many parts of ourselves we haven't met yet. And if you're not willing to try new things, you won't meet them.
Yeah. That's beautiful. No, totally. And yeah, like I think like just like the horse thing is amazing because it's like animals are such amazing beings. Like my dog's sitting in my lap right now and he's just like snuggled up to me, grounding me. I'm obsessed with my dog. I love him so much. Like animals are just, I think that's what it's about. Being with
Hmm.
animals, absolutely grounding me, calming me, and just the spiritual connection of just like being with an animal or your animal is like very powerful. And I think that, like I am quite busy, like I'm doing a lot of events and I do a lot of things, but my favorite thing is really coming back to him and just like being snuggled into him. He just kind of
Mm,
resets my nervous system, which, horses are very known for that. The
yeah.
spirituality and energy of a horse, it's becomes like this medicine, being around
Yeah.
these beings. We're so lucky to be able to have them close to us. I think it's a privilege and a blessing.
Yeah.
And the other thing with that, with, what you were mentioning is, you know, I think the reminders of just being grateful every day, gratitude, our blessings, like we are very fortunate, like how we live in our day-to-day lives. So, you know, just remembering that we are very blessed. We are very like fortunate with what we have in our lives compared to some other
Mm,
people in the world and other parts of the world. And I think that daily practice as well is like a really good reminder of maybe, finding that deeper purpose within yourself. Like what it is that you can actually give back as well to others and share the parts of yourself. But it comes from like that internal gratitude, like reminding us of that. And then sharing that with other people is like such a gift. So, like, a lot of the work I do is like, I do it for myself and I love it and enjoy it. And then it's like shared. And then it's like the abundance in that and the feeling is like, it's definitely what lights me up. You mentioned like you're so light and yeah, it's like I think it's because of the work that we do. It's like I'm so lucky I have the life I have and get to do these things because yes, it's a choice. I chose it and I created it consciously because I wanted to create the things I love more and brought me joy within myself, the self-care part, and then the fact that I get to share that and see what it does in that ripple effect to the people and communities and people around me. It's like, it's such a win-win. And it feels like this is such a nice way to live life. I'm going to keep going and keep creating because it's fun and inspiring and just lifting my environment around me up as well, which is beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, I love appreciation. I find is a really grounding energy to ground when things when you have things to celebrate and things are going well. We're so used to beating ourselves up. Um, and but about the last thing you said around what you do brings you joy and it's for you. Let's talk about your journey. I would love for you to take us on a trajectory if you'll share your personal story of like how you even found yoga or yoga found you and how you started on the journey of opening your first yoga studio and how your purpose has evolved because I think often I know a lot of my clients especially in the last couple of years have been really feeling that like I can't do this job anymore. Like I cannot force myself, like stick the square peg into the round hole anymore. Like there's something deeper, there's something more meaningful. And I know that is such a hot topic of conversation that I'm having with everyone in my community right now. And I know, in friend groups, and it's happening everywhere for people who aren't already feeling their own purpose. And I think often people have a fantasy that they're just going to figure it out in their mind first, what the thing is. But if I look at your journey and my journey, I had no idea where I was headed. I didn't know I would have this podcast. I didn't know I would have this amazing community. I didn't know anything. Like it was
Mhm.
one step at a time. So would love to hear your story of going from like how yoga impacted your life, how it found you, and then where you went with your stepping into your purpose and claiming your magical life that you have now.
Well, yeah, and thank you. That's, it's a pretty big story. So we might have to do a few of these podcasts, but
That's fine.
I'll give you the summary of just kind of like the journey. Growing up, I was born and raised here in Vancouver. My parents are both from India, and when we came to Vancouver, I was born here. Like I mentioned, we had a bit of a dysfunctional family growing up. Like my parents were both chefs, and I remember being at the restaurant in Gastown in Vancouver, and they would argue like two chefs in the kitchen. So I saw a lot of like dysfunction arguing between my parents. They had such a deep, deep love, but that love also was like they'd fight a lot. And I remember
Mm.
seeing that as a kid, and I'd be so embarrassed because people could hear them in the front of the restaurant. And I'm this little kid like drawing dishes
Oh.
because I'd have to work there on weekends all the time. So I grew up in the restaurant world, and you could literally hear them screaming, fighting. My dad was a messy cook. My mom was a clean cook. And they just butted heads. So, and then growing up with that dynamic with all my siblings, I'm the youngest of five kids in my family. And just the dynamic of fighting with parents and kids. And I watched it all as the youngest, looking up at it all and, going through everything under the moon you could think of with family dysfunction, like addiction to it's like I experienced everything, if you will. It was crazy. And at the same time, it was almost a blessing, right? Like I, for some reason, as a child, knew I'm going through this for a higher purpose. I remember one specific moment, I was looking in the mirror and there was like arguing happening in the hallway of my home. And I was looking at myself, tears running down my eyes. I was a kid. And I was like, in my head, there was a voice saying, "You're going through this for something greater." Now, what kid hears that? And
Mhm.
I can see and hear that moment clear as day. And I carry it with me today. I'm like, I had an angel guide. I had guides with me because there's no kid that has that. I mean, I don't really know many. And I kind of kept that as like my mantra ever since. And reminding myself through the traumas and tragedies, because many more came as I got older. Like in 1993, my dad was incarcerated for 21 years, went to prison, which really rocked our world and broke our family apart. And again, I had to like really like pick myself up and try not to live in the whole victim world, which I had many opportunities to do, and the path of,
And what kid, like what, that's wild. I think
yeah.
of how many people are victims of like their boss being grumpy or something. And it's like, what child goes through that and the whole time is connected to his higher self? I mean,
Yeah, and like it was hard
amazing.
because I was 13 when that part happened, and I had much more prior to that. Like that'll be in the book, Kate.
Yes, yes,
But
yes. It's coming.
that was probably the really big turning point when that happened because it was like blasted all over media, and it was like my life was exposed. I'm a kid in high school and going to school, and media and news and newspapers, like going through that whole like I used to walk with my head down a lot. Like I would walk down because I didn't want someone to see my face because I was so ashamed, living in shame and I'm not worthy. And we lived in an affluent community at the time. And we lost all our friends. I had no friends. Everyone turned on us. It was crazy. It was a out of a movie, it felt like. It's very surreal.
It probably
And
will be a movie, I think, actually. I'm getting that download now. Like your life
yeah,
story is a
I
book
mean,
and it becomes a movie for sure.
it's there's so many different facets to it as well, like so many little things in there,
Yeah.
that I will share over time eventually. But like I mentioned, just like
On
the
our
big,
future show,
yeah, I would love that.
we're gonna have a sideshow,
And you know what the
a
thing
spin-off
is,
show.
I'm totally into that because I think that a lot of my story is relatable to people in one way or the other, different parts of the story, like from, the depression, anxiety, addiction, the shame, the guilt, like so many things around that we all endure as humans on different levels in the emotional state. Trauma, really, right? And carrying that as a child. And then as I got older, you know, I was very lost because I was like, that really throws you off and you lose sense of identity or what your identity might be or should look like because you're kind of like hiding a lot. And I was. And I remember I was at a point in my life and I was in my early 20s and 19, 20, 20, 20s, yeah, around 20. And I was having suicidal thoughts. I was like, I am just done. Like I couldn't live with the feelings of not good enough and shame and everything that was happening with my family and within myself, the turmoil. And one of my best friends at the time, and she's still my best friend today, and she actually was with me through a lot of my, upbringing. And she's like, why don't you try yoga? This was in 2001 now. And I was
That's
like,
Michelle.
yeah, Michelle.
Mm.
Yeah. And she said, try yoga because she was very concerned about me. She loved me like we were family, right? And so I did. I went to my first yoga class by myself. And back then I'd never
Where? Where?
in North Vancouver at the Yoga Pod,
Yoga Pod. Where was Yoga Pod?
just on
What's the?
Esplanade. It's no longer there. Obviously, it shut down many years ago now, but they were
Yeah.
a really beautiful yoga studio. And that was my first time doing a yoga class, which is crazy in 2001.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I went by myself in the afternoon. I remember it. I did the most amazing practice. A teacher, her words were like speaking to my soul. And I went after the class into the car, sat in my car, and started crying uncontrollably. I was crying, crying, crying. And I knew it was tears of almost joy or release, or like I finally found something that made me feel or open me up or release something on a deeper level than I was so externalized. I was so living my life through what other people thought of me, the judgments, what they were thinking of me through my family's experiences. And like, I always thought like people were talking about me in a negative way because of everything I had been through. And finally, I was able to go inward and realize, like, who am I? Like, I'm a good person. Like, I have been through a lot and it wasn't of my doing. This was just what I was presented in my soul's journey. I was born into this. I didn't commit these crimes or these things, these moments. I was a kid and I really started to get connected to my inner wisdom and self through the practice of meditation, of yoga. And I realized I'm going to stick to this path now because I found something. Oh my gosh, like I was amazing. But
Oh, yeah. And something that makes you feel good like that. It's such a beautiful feeling when you're in so much pain internally and then you find something that actually connects you to really to who we truly are.
I think so, or at least
Yeah.
unmasking or unlayering parts of ourselves,
Yeah.
or transforming those parts of ourselves that
Yeah.
we had endured the traumas and sadness and all the things. Like, how can I now use these to empower myself? So there's the adversity, I gain strength coming back in the mantra. You're going through this for a higher purpose. That reminder
Yeah.
came back because I went inward through my practice. So that reminder spoke louder within me, like, oh, yeah, you're doing this for a higher purpose. This is an experience you're experiencing so you can help yourself through it and then help others that are going through the similar suffering. Because you know what? You're not the only one going through this. I guarantee it. And that was kind of then the language I adopted, that in the darkness, I can find light. The lotus flower growing in the mud, the dark, dirty mud this light, beautiful flower will grow and come. So from the dark comes light, from light comes dark. There's this balance of polarities that we're living in the human experience. And I think that there's so much wisdom and teaching and beauty. And I know this now, of course, that it can make you take leaps and bounds into the light and the magic and the dreams you want to manifest. But it's transforming it, repatterning, learning from it. Don't run away from it. There's so much
Mm.
amazing um it's like that compost of stuff, that
I was
amazing,
picturing that too. Oh my
right?
gosh.
Like the dirt
Yes,
and the
I was picturing like there's
composting and
there's there's minerals, there's like there's things you need to. That's so
jewels
wild
and
that you use the
diamonds in
same
that
metaphor.
dirt.
I was just like I was
Yeah.
picturing maybe there's the Kenyan red earth, the soil.
Oh,
It's like rich. It's like
that's
that.
the dirt you
Even though
want
it's
on your skin.
painful. Yeah, exactly. It's healing. There's so many gems inside of it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. And so, yeah, like, just I was in a job too that I did not love. I was working for
Yeah.
a bank, an insurance
I
company.
remember you got me my first credit card,
Yes.
where it all went downhill.
And you know what? And I learned a lot from there. It kept me disciplined. I had
Yeah.
responsibility. It was a bank. I didn't go to college or university. I wasn't able to due to my circumstances at the time and where I was in my mindset. So I worked. I always worked and I had some amazing jobs, but I always kept my foot in the practice because it was like helping me get through. And then at one point I realized I'm like, I want to make this my life because what an amazing life to be able to
Uh,
practice every day and then share it with people. Like, I want this for my future because I know my nervous system and mind really would need that because going through what I went through as that young adult child, I'm like, if I don't find a path that's going to keep me on a path, it's going to go another direction. And that
yes.
direction was like those, negative, dark thoughts that could consume one, right?
I I
So,
I just want to highlight one thing you just said. I want to make this my life. Like what a beautiful statement. Just thinking of how many people do things they love and then they go to a job they hate. And maybe because they believe, oh, you can't make money from that or whatever, there might be some limiting beliefs in there, but I want to make this my life. How beautiful is that?
yeah,
Wow.
you know what? It was clear as day that I'm like, why not? Why not choose this as a life path? Because it's so beautiful. It felt amazing. It was healing me on levels I didn't know at that time yet until I learned much later about the science and what's actually happening to our brain, gut, nervous system, our spiritual being, energy body, the dense body, like you said, we're in the dense. I learned about the dense and then the subtle energies and the healing around that. So all I know is in the moment back then, it was a felt sense and knowing. And then later, because in 2006, I did my first teacher training to become certified as a yoga teacher. That's when it really opened up the door of, okay, there is a science to this. There is actual
Mm.
science of what's happening. And now everything was starting to click in my brain, my heart, like all the dots. I'm like, this is actually medicine. This is therapy, medicine. This is a path of spirituality that is uplifting, enlightening, and it's only going to get better and better if I move in this direction for myself because the other route and road was a darker place that I would have stayed in. And I knew I didn't, I knew I was going through this for a higher purpose. And I wanted to make that my mantra and move forward with that in life as my mission to be of service, you know. And I did that. And so many years later, yeah, 2007, then I opened up my yoga studio like a year, not even a year after I graduated. I'm like, I'm just doing this. I'm making it my life. And I'm going to say something kind of
And most
cheesy.
people will be like, I'm not good enough yet. I need to practice like 10 million more times and do more
Oh,
training to
oh
do
yeah,
this and that.
no.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I
Uh-huh.
was also like people around me, like when I was gonna open up my yoga studio, everyone's like, are you crazy? First of all, you don't have a following. You haven't even done this really. You haven't really started teaching. And I had not a lot of money at all. I was, how is this gonna happen? Like everyone's like, the economy's bad right now. But I just had this inner feeling and knowing guidance. And I don't even know how to really fully name it as one name, but angels, like inner voice, universal self, whatever you want to call it. It's like you need to create this space of community where people can practice in a safe space and nurture selves through this and community and connection. And I did, and it all manifested magically.
And it was during a recession and also like the most beautiful studio because you're also one of your I mean, you have an insane amount of gifts from anyone I've ever met, but
Aw.
um it your gift of aesthetics. I mean, like your studio was and your house, everything, what you wear, like always just pristinely beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, I mean, I like style. I like things that look, I'm a Libra, so I like
Yes, so much
detail.
total
Total
Libra.
Libra. And like
Yeah.
I'm drawn to like aesthetics and balance and nice looking things. And so yeah, my studio, I want it to be like beautifully, stunningly simple, classy, that would never go out of style. Like it could just stay and be minimalist as well, like very zen and meditative. When you walk in, you just feel grounded. And so I think I achieved that. I really do. And I was so proud of it. And I had it almost around 18 years. And
18 years. Was it that
well,
long?
wait,
Was
I
it
opened
that
in
old? Oh my
2007.
God.
I'm an old girl.
I
Well, I'm
said, no,
getting
no, I
older.
said we. I said we. We've been doing this dance a long time.
It's
So,
true, we have. I love it.
yeah.
No, I think, yeah, 2007, and then I sold it in 2020, right before COVID, basically. So it was a long thing. And, but through that, I learned and grew and did many trainings and sound healing. I learned and the sound therapy and so much adventure happened through there, like big, huge, amazing chapter in my life. Absolutely. And now that I'm like
And
freestyle,
community. I mean, like
oh,
everyone, you had the most loyal community. I met because my parents like were from North Vancouver too, and my parents' friends would my mom would be talking to someone and be talking about you, and then they would be like, "Oh, what my yoga? I love my yoga." And like they had so many friends who went to my yoga. I don't even know if I've ever told you that.
no. Yeah, no, Ma became a thing, and Ma means mother in Hindi. So I did it to honor my mom. And also, the vision was nurture yourself the way a parent does to their child. Like, do that for yourself, the self-care first, as hard as that can be sometimes. And then once you do that, you can give it authentically outward. So, really embodying the nurture self-care kind of ritual, if you will, that
Mhm.
practice. And then from there authentically it is given outward because the whole thing, you can't give from an empty cup or that sort of thing. It was very much rooted in that. And when I was younger too, it's like I wanted to give that to myself. Remember, I was like, the whole selfish thing versus self-care. It's like I transform that word into selfish to like, no, it's self-care. You do deserve to take care of yourself and go get a spa, go, do the practice, take time in your day for yourself, the rituals, like the things that bring you joy. Like, taking my bath or my shower and putting on my nice skincare products is like taking care of
Oh,
my
your
skin.
skincare products. Let's plug the skincare products.
You know what I
There's
mean? But
another thing
like,
you turned to gold. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that daily ritual of self, or like that cup of tea and like just sitting watching
Yeah.
nature and gardening, whatever brings you that moment in your day for yourself to like just be quiet and listen, I think is so self-care practices that we need to do more of.
It
Absolutely.
makes me, and when you describe it that way in such a sweet, sensual, beautiful way, it makes me think of like how everyone is to someone they're trying to like woo in the beginning of a relationship when you're
Woo
dating and you like
you, woo
all of a sudden
yourself.
like do what exactly woo you. Is that the name of
Woo
our
you.
spin-off show? Woo you.
Woo you.
Put that in
Are we doing a
put that in
spin-off? Did we share that already? Yeah, we did. We're
We're
doing a
we're we're
spin-off.
we're planting a seed. We're going to do a
Planting a
spin-off
seed.
YouTube channel, but and it's going to be really playful and funny. But like woo you, maybe that's it. It might not make sense to people,
Woo you.
but that is it. You woo people in the beginning. You do things to impress them, and you want to like if you're an amazing cook, you make them dinner. If you're,
Yeah.
you buy them presents. You do these little things for them to
Yeah.
impress them or to make them like you more. Like make yourself like you more.
But it's like that's kind of like you hear, the honeymoon phase of like the first bit of
Uh-huh.
relationship where you're
Oh
trying to
yeah.
like, really impress and be sexy and da da da. But then all of a sudden there's a moment that things shift after a year or so, or 6 months or a year probably, but and then that starts to dwindle down. But like exactly, it's like
But
Learning
not
to,
when you woo you. Like when you woo
that's
you,
it.
you don't have such a high and low. Like, and this podcast is so much about dating and relationships. Is like the high and low comes from the fantasy and then the crash of the fantasy dissipating, and now you're meeting each other's wounds and each other's, patterns. But when you live a life like you're talking about, following your heart, following your joy, doing what you love, wooing yourself, caring for yourself, then your cup is full and you meet a partner, and you, of course, you're going to have challenges, you're going to have triggers, stuff comes up, that's normal. But you're not going to look to them, they're not going to be like heroin anymore, where it's like, oh my god, I need another hit, I need another hit, because you're already
Mhm.
full inside.
Yeah. No, that's a big one. And the funny thing is I do love being on my own. I love time with myself, like just sitting around, laying and, listening to music or whatever. Like I do enjoy like cooking alone. Like I like alone time. I do. Like I feel like I'm good company with myself, if that sounds weird. But like I think
That's
that's important
amazing.
is like to have that relationship with yourself and enjoy your personal time. And I crave personal time. I think because I am an introvert, believe it or not, and even though I'm exposed to a lot of people and audiences for like my events and things like that, like I get my energy when I'm alone or with my dog in the quiet time. That's where I really fuel myself internally and nurture and give back to myself. And so finding that balance, right? So for me, it's that ritualistic thing every day and finding those things in my day that I have that time for myself.
You know, I think everyone would enjoy being alone if they treated themselves how you treat yourself.
The woo. Find a bit
Yeah,
of
if they
woo.
wooed themselves,
Find
I
your
think
woo.
everyone would love being alone, but most people are stuck alone with the critical voice in their head, being a victim of circumstance, judging themselves, judging other people, fighting for their limitations. So the more yoga, meditation, I just feel like there's so many already, and you're not even, I want to hear more of your story. Your story is so good. It's so amazing. But it's if people spent, there's so many clues to all of the things you're saying, and how if we spent more time doing these things that we love, doing things that feel good, doing things that are nurturing and healing and
Mhm.
soul giving and heart expanding, we'd all love being alone instead of just hanging out with the mean roommate that lives upstairs in your
Ah, yeah.
in your
You
penthouse
know,
suite.
I think with a lot of things, and we hear this a lot, everything in moderation and balance. And again, here comes back my Libra vibes. I have to put myself out there and be social and do the events and connection because I do believe I'm here of service and I have things to share with my community and communities. And I love that because it's wonderful, but then I find the balance of what feeds my soul and nourishes me. So it's kind of like check in with me first. Remember that whole Ma vision, and I embody that. I really do. I praise that within my rituals in my daily practice because I also believe too. I have experienced trauma, anxiety, depression on such real grief on such real deep levels, and I realized in my mind, okay, I've gone through this. I still go through this on some levels daily. It's not as consuming as it used to be, but because I realized you're going through this experientially, so you can understand it, learn from it, and help others going through it. So I can relate to people more because I've gone through so much tragedy and trauma, and the PTSD and CPTSD and all the ADHD, all the stuff growing up the way I did, it was just okay. I understand now through textbook and the teachings. I'm more educated, knowledgeable that I do have these things. Are they allies? Are they allies? Are they tools that I've been gifted on this journey? Or are they there as like heavy dead weight that's like holding me back from manifesting my dreams, desires, and my joy and cultivating the life I want? So I'm like, wait a second, no, I can use all those things and transform them, repattern them within myself that, wait a second, those might have been gifts or little jewels or pearls of wisdom I was gifted in the life's journey. Because I know life is all about struggle, figuring it out, survival, and finding the balance and peace within it, or the
The
neutral.
hero's journey,
Yeah,
right? It's the hero's journey.
the hero's
Every
journey,
movie ever.
yeah,
Yeah.
and
Or the
coming back to
alchemist.
the alchemy, exactly, or in finding neutral. Try to find neutral in every situation, and and in yoga we call it the bodhisattva, right? Like coming into that place of neutrality is a really place to live in the seat of that. And I think you're really living in the seat of your soul when you're living in the bodhisattva, in the place of neutral. We're not triggered into like negative mind or overly positive. Like recognize those
Mhm.
as an observer or witness in your situations. Like, and then come back to neutral for a moment and breathe, pause. Okay, like what's the teaching and lesson here? Like, let me see if I can put myself in the other person's shoes or the other situation, the polarity of the situation. Like, take yourself outside of the wheel of your thinking mind that the patterns always go to, and see it from a broader perspective. Some people call this like the universal self, the little self, big self, and just pull back for a moment. And I think going back to the practice for me, that's what it taught me a lot about is the discipline, the witnessing, observing, listening to my body, hearing the thoughts and really being curious about the thoughts rather than like what's wrong with me? Why am I thinking like that? Because there was a period of time where I would think like why am I thinking like this? Why are these thoughts? I know I'm good. I know I'm good enough, but why is it telling me I'm not good enough? Who is that voice? Where is it coming from? So then I started to investigate that child, the little boy in me that still needed healing and attention, obviously. And so I started to go deeper into that world. And I started to realize, okay, let's see how we can like take his hand and be like, I got you. We got this. Let's walk together. And
Mhm.
let's create something different now. Like that old pattern and story isn't working for us anymore. It's kept us protected and safe, but now we can go here and it's okay. And we can make mistakes because those mistakes or failures are beautiful lessons and teachings and learnings. They'll take you to the next thing. So try not to be so fearful, be more playful, have more fun. Don't take things so seriously anymore. Life is short, and at the end of the day, you have a choice. You could be in fear and let it hold you back and restrict you. Okay, if that's really what you want and your heart's desire is that, or what is your heart's desire? To take that risk, to take and see and explore and create, be creative. And I'm choosing that daily. And it's been fun and magical and beautiful. And so I'm healing the little boy inside of me. I'm working with all my traumas and all those things that I was, now I say, gifted. And as hard as it is to hear that sometimes, because I went through some serious traumas and tragedies. So people were like, what? But it's like, it's part of my path, and it's brought me to where I am today. And I'm proud of where I am today and who I am today. I still have hard days and times, but now I have those tools and I work through them and I share them and I have a remembrance of, wow, your soul was gifted many opportunities and experiences that were rich and full of that dirty, dirty dirt, which I've now composted and now flowers.
And
And
turned into a facial.
I'm going to do a facial with that mud. Exactly. That red mud.
It's
I'm coming to Africa. We're doing a
Yeah,
retreat.
you are. You better come
Yes.
soon. Yeah, we'll
Love
plug out all our retreats
it.
too. But I love everything you're saying. It's so beautiful. And it's like, it's so important because you and I represent light and joy. And I love how much of your story you've shared. I feel like this is just makes the conversation so much more potent and powerful, because it's not all light and love. Like, it's like meeting ourselves in the pain. I always say, like, we're just
Mm,
in expansion and contraction, like breathing as humans. And probably we all chose whatever journey we're on. So even if it might seem like it fucking sucks and you wish whatever's happening wasn't happening, on some soul level, this is the curriculum your soul's here to experience. And
yeah.
especially if you're listening to this podcast, you're on this path, your soul is here to evolve. And you can choose the fear based small path. That's an option that is so, people think this path is work. No, that's way more work. That is exhausting, being in
Hmm.
your patterns all the time. And and in your limitation. But when we can meet ourselves in those younger parts of us, in when we're in those contracted states, when we have that pain activated, and we
Mm,
can love ourselves through it. Like I just felt that so strongly when you were like, I'm holding his hand now and I'm walking with him. Like, can we be to the little girl, to the little boy inside who went through everything that they went through? Because all of us, whether you have capital T trauma or small traumas, like all of us were told who to be, what to think, what's right,
mhm,
what's wrong, what's good, what's bad. All of us were pulled away from the magic of who we are and the essence of who we are. So, in order to reclaim that, you have to be willing to be the divine mom, divine dad, divine lover, love, mentor, guide to that wounded little kid inside. And I feel like that's just what you do. It's like, it doesn't come without pain, it doesn't come without a lot of grief, but it comes with also simultaneously as you're holding that little boy's hand, as you're letting him feel, you I imagine this is true for me, but I imagine it's true for you too. Also always simultaneously holding the perspective that there is something greater happening here. Like I, no
yeah.
matter what I'm going through, I always hold that perspective, but I'm like crying my eyes out while simultaneously being like, this is for a purpose,
Yeah.
and we don't need to get in our head about it. Like it will make sense later. It doesn't often make sense during, but later when you're willing to just feel your feelings and love yourself through the experience, that's what alchemizes it, and then you get to come back to that life of joy
Yeah.
and give that little
Absolutely.
boy the joy. Like I feel like your life
Yeah.
now and
That's
all the
it.
magical things you do, like keep telling us your life story because I think it's important to share where you went beyond the yoga studio. And share more of the story because it is like your life now feels like a reclamation for that little boy and giving him the best fucking life he could ever imagine.
You know,
And
and
the most
that's
love and the most support and the most guidance and all those things.
it's exactly right. And I feel like that little boy that was so confined for so long and anxiety and all the scary and oh, the world's scary and it's shame. And you're right. And today, how I've totally transformed it now into like exposing myself into big audiences and sharing and having fun and creative. And all my creativity outlets are coming out like my wellness line, my retreats, my deck of cards, and the practices I do. Like, so many things. I'm doing all the things I love. It's like a kid I'm playing. And I think
Yes.
I for so long though too, it's like I was conditioned to always think of like what other people thought of me and the shame and they're judging me. And today I'm like, let them. Let them. It doesn't matter. That's their stuff. It's not mine. And
Yes.
I can either spend my life worrying about what they're all thinking and saying it, because there's always going to be people talking about us, good or bad.
Mhm.
There's always going to be critics. It's always, this is just how the human czar, you know? So I can spend my time waiting and wondering what they're all doing, or I can spend my time cultivating the joy in my life and what brings me happiness and move from within my inner space into my outer space and creating my reality and world. Because I do believe, if you get up every day and look in the mirror and say, I'm ugly, you know what? You're ugly.
You're
So
going to
it's
be
like,
ugly for sure.
yeah, like your thoughts create our
Yeah.
reality, our actions, our
Yes.
frequency, they create our environment and surroundings. And so now I'm like, okay, like no, like I am going to let them just be all those voices and things, that noise around that isn't serving my highest and best self. I'm not going to let that be as loud. It'll be there.
Yes.
I'm always aware, but I know the path that is a beautiful one of the soul's journey. And it's a gift. We're very precious and powerful. And everyone has the same light within them and joy and that inner child spark that wants to be creative and playful and feel special. And I think we all have that in us. And so learning that about ourselves, you know, is such a beautiful gift to give ourselves, that you can achieve and be those things and be free with it. Absolutely. So that's it.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
when you live from that place, like of the willingness, the no longer willing to let other people's opinions and limitations limit you, your world opens up so much, and then you attract people who also aren't limited. I don't know about you, but like I have so many amazing humans in my life, and every day mean, Africa attracts really cool people. There's amazing people here. But every day I meet people that are living unscripted and living these big expansive lives and that are seeing the world through such an empower at a time where, I could plunk into a neighborhood in America and everyone's talking about how the world's going to shit and everything's burning and how like it's all going to hell in a handbasket is like we can have totally different realities because your inner world creates your outer world. And if your inner world is a mess and you're just in that toxic, abusive punishment cycle internally from your traumas and you haven't done the deeper healing to love up those parts of yourself and to reclaim your own life and your own joy,
Mm.
then your outer world is going to reflect what you're experiencing. Like I remember the first time I changed my name because I did change it a couple times when I added the last name and all that. But the first time I went through that, that was like an initiation for me because I lost lots of friends. They didn't say I'm not your friend anymore because you changed your name, but my whole external world changed because I was reclaiming me just like going and doing something really fucking wild and different, which I wasn't that person before. I never did things that were wild and different. I was like, oh my God, can I be more like you and you and you? And I just wanted to be like everyone else. So to
Yeah.
to take a stand and be like, you know what? This might seem weird to everyone, but I don't care because I hate my name. And why am I going to go 75 more years if I live to 100? Being called a name I hate. And so that, if I look back on my journey, that was like the first initiation where I'm like, even though I feel so much, embarrassment, I feel like judged, I feel, part of me didn't want to do it. The part
Mm.
of me that was like, no, we're doing this was stronger. And the more we follow that over and over and over again, and we say yes to ourselves, you'll realize people actually don't care about you in your life as much as they might say they do. They just say
Mm.
those things in the moment because they're projecting their own limitations. If they're afraid of change, if they're afraid of doing something against the grain, if they're afraid of being judged and being called weird or whatever, then they'll project that onto you. You're starting a yoga studio in a recession. What are you crazy? Like because they wouldn't do something that courageous at a time like that, right? So it's like just a reflection of who they are and where they're at within themselves. It's nothing to do with you. And so the
Mm-hmm.
willingness to just say, like, what matters the most is how I feel. And then let the external world catch up. Because in my experience, it just gets more and more aligned. And I feel like I keep just surrounding myself with more inspiring, expanded people who are even more wild and unscripted than I am. I'm just like, ooh, so inspired daily by this world around me that changes the more my inner world changes.
Beautiful. Hmm. And I think that, yeah, like you start to attract those people in your community around you that, the light attracts light. It's
Yeah.
infectious, right? Like
Yeah.
you're embodying it, your inner spark. People are drawn to that energy, and you're lifting other people up, and then that becomes your circle and your people around you. And I
Yes.
think it's very important too who we surround ourselves by,
Yeah.
and I think that it's beautiful like when we find that within ourselves, it just like that snowballing effect of like what's next? Like what's going to happen next? What's just waiting for us around the corner? It's exciting to be able to create from that free like uncontrolled place is just like how fun, how cool is that?
Yes. And because you're at the place now where you can say what's next, what's next. My
Yeah.
old business mentor used to say you have to choose one thing to start that feels really aligned and give it your all, which you did with the yoga studio. And then you can be like Oprah, like she committed to the TV show and the talk show for a long time. No matter if the ratings were bad, no matter what was going on, she committed to that. And
Yeah.
now she can be like School in Africa, O Magazine, this network, whatever, oh network or whatever. Like she can now like in an instant make something happen. And I feel
Yes.
like you're at that stage now because you devoted yourself so fully to Ma. And then so really the most magical year yet is feels like so much of it is connected to purpose, right? Like, because what we spend our time doing matters. And so you devoted yourself to this thing that you loved that was so healing and transformational for you. And then as you were there, you let yourself evolve. You started doing sound bowl healing. You started doing different types of sessions. You started tapping into different parts of yourself there. And then take us on the rest of the story because now it's like, oh, I'm doing the cards. Take us
Yeah.
on the rest of the journey.
Yeah, so basically, when I sold the studio, I kind of took a little moment to pause. I was dealing with grief. My mom had passed away in 2020, like literally when I sold the studio, which is very symbolic. And it came
Mm.
as a shock,
Yes.
Ma being mother and my mom. And I was so extremely close to my mom, like literally my best friend. So that hit me very hard. And I think that was one thing I hadn't fully experienced. I mean, I experienced grief in a lot of ways, but the loss of my mom was like the biggest heart. Nothing ever could have prepared me for it. And I was so lucky that I had a yoga practice because I'm like, wow, how do people do without some type of spiritual practice? Because that was really hard. So it was like 3 months of like being on the ground. And it's funny because I sold the studio too. So it was kind of like a good timing in a way because I needed that time to really go inward with myself and move through the grief, experience it on a raw level, and really miss her that I wanted to literally be dead again. I went back to that place of like, I just want to be with her. Like, what? I got to live the rest of my life, like however many years I have left, seems like a long time without her. And so I then was kind of like thinking I'm gonna semi-retire. I didn't really know then because I was like kind of a bit down. And then I just resparked the adventure of like, you know what? I have a gift that I want to keep offering of service. It healed me then. And through this grief, I can now commit to this place of helping myself
Mm.
heal with community and help people going through grief as well now too, because I've experienced it on such a deep, raw level. And I had known people along my way who experienced grief, and my heart went out to them, but I didn't fully grasp the pain and the sadness that comes around it. And then when my mom passed away, I was like, oh, wow, like this is something crazy. Like this is insane. Like I can't even imagine.
And we're not prepared
We're
for
not
it.
prepared, and I don't think we talk about it enough, or a lot of us didn't, or I didn't anyway. And I think so. Then I did a grief workshop. I put on my very first grief workshop, and it was very well attended. It was so beautiful, and it healed me and other people. We got to share our stories and talk in community and cry, and it was beautiful. And so I really want to do another one. I want to do an online grief one, actually. I'm thinking about that for the new year. And I just started then doing sound baths again and going to like various locations around the city in Vancouver and offering my yoga and gentle somatic therapeutic, gentle movement yogas, some Kundalini. Like I just kind of switch it up and depending on where and what the event is. And then I'll do my sound baths, like the gongs, the bowls, and many other sound healing frequency tools that I use to help the nervous system and calm the mind. So it's another form of meditation. And I have been doing it now. It's going to be 3 years since I've been doing it. And it's just become so beautiful and an offering that I will continue to do. And through that, it's led me to many amazing collaborations, connections. It's expanded into doing shows at the planetarium, at the space center. So you're astral traveling through the cosmos. And I'm doing a sound bath with a live vocalist on stage, Narinjan Kaur, who I love her and her voice. And her and I's journeys were very similar in a lot of ways too. So we co-wrote like 4 songs together. And one is about healing your inner child called Walk Your Way Home. We sing that
Wow.
at the event as well. We sing live. And, she's brought out this playful singing in me and making music with my bowls and her voice and my steel drum. And we have a story and a journey through that. And so this will be our 7th show at the planetarium. And she's with me at all those shows. And then I do other events around the city too, of course, and just meet different communities and different pockets now. So I'm more free than being in one space. Like I had the studio, I can go like and all the retreats and doing international local retreats and. Seeing culture and being in community with each other. And, coming out with the cards. I just launched my first deck of cards that are just, every day. It's called Whispers for the Heart and Soul. So basically, it's like you pull a card once a day if you like, or whenever you want to, and it has like a word like love or joy, and then it has like a little write up on that to kind of inspire you, give you wisdom, some strength in your day, to remind us of things embodied around that word and ourselves. And the artwork is done by myself and three other local artists, these three other women I was working with, and we collaborated to do the artwork on every card. So I'm so proud of it. It's a beautiful, it took me about a year. Um, so that's out now, which is great. And yeah, the next, just creating more like unique opportunities and workshops and classes that bring like dance and play and painting and ceremony, like more rituals, like bringing more rituals back. We don't have enough of that here on the West Coast, where there's rituals like making
Mhm.
ceremony and offerings, making an altar. It's that sacredness again in your day, right? Like, I think that's really important. And that was one of my major awakenings, is that spiritual moment daily, whatever that looks like for you. You can create your own. That's the beauty of it. But having that daily, that magical moment to pause in your day for whatever it is you're doing, and giving yourself that time. And that's what will get more clarity and purpose and direction of manifesting more of what it is you love or want to cultivate more of in your life. But you got to give yourself that self-care nurturing time, right? And so on my journey today, all the things I'm doing, the wellness line, all
Talk about
that.
that. Talk about the
Yeah.
wellness line and
So
more about the
the
retreats too.
wellness line is like, ever since, so Michelle, funny enough, my bestie, who I've known since forever, who actually told me to do yoga for the first time. She's an esthetician. She does the most amazing facials and, does all the skincare stuff. So since I was like 16, I would take care of my skin because of her a lot. Like, I was using good skincare and taking care of like my skin and body and stuff. And I still do it today. And I'm like, wouldn't it be great to create my own all natural, no synthetic, no fragrance, like a nice line where like it's like the mist or the toners that I use in some of my events, the essential oils, and the ritual of every day putting something on your skin, on your body that we should take care of, is just kind of like another meditation. It's a mindfulness practice, daily self-care, putting those oils on your body, feeling good, self-care nurture. That's another component I really believe. And teaching people to take care of yourself, nurture this vessel we've been gifted, because it also is part of the soul and that energetic self. It carries it. And by doing those conscious things like a yoga practice, a dancing practice, a meditation, a walk in the forest, or sitting by the ocean, or the bath with the bath salts, um, you know, all those things are part of that time in your day for introspection, self care. And the more moments we have like that relationship with self that we can build a loving relationship with, that's your ultimate partner, is you, the wooing of you. Here we go back to woo.
Woo you boo. Woo you
Woo,
boo.
woo you boo. Yeah, and it's so true though, and it can be
Yeah.
very simple. You don't got to spend a ton of money and da da da. Like,
Yeah.
you can
Yeah.
literally go for a walk or sit with a cup of tea or just sit and listen to music and whatever brings you that solace and joy. Find the moments, the little ones in your day. Maybe they can be bigger ones if you have that grace of time. um and then, yeah, like for me now, that's my creative outlet, and that's how I can create more. I literally had a dream, that I did a sound bath in the planetarium sky dome. And then I contacted them saying, hey, would you guys be open to this? They've never done it. And they're like, yes. And now I'm on my seventh show. December 20th will be my seventh show for winter solstice, and I have three more next year there. And it's just like, it's been so popular and beautiful and unique. And I love being able to create a different experience for people, because typically you're laying on a yoga mat for a sound bath of one of my sound bath events. But this is, you're sitting in a big chair, you're watching the visuals, you're getting a sound bath meditation. So it's like inviting in more inclusivity with people who would never walk into a space where there's like yoga mats and what is this? So it's opening up people to like a way of meditation without them really knowing it too. So it's inviting both types of crowds, all different people,
Amazing.
and it's been amazing and it's so fun. And yeah, I'm just gonna keep riding the wave. I'm gonna keep riding
Yeah,
the
and the
wave.
waves don't stop coming. And it's like, there's so many threads here. I see it's like you follow these things that are deeply joyful for you or that they're deeply serving you in, on your own path and your own healing journey, and then you create a thing so everybody can benefit from it. It's like ultimate generosity, but but you're included, you're not excluded. And
Yeah.
also just thinking how you have such magnetic energy. So as soon as you do something, it fills, you do retreats all over the world. You have one coming up in India, you have one coming up in where Egypt,
South of
in all
France,
south
Egypt.
of
Yeah, we're going to a
France,
bunch of places. Africa.
all
We're gonna
over
do Africa.
Africa,
Oh,
Okinawa.
Okinawa, Japan. I know.
Okinawa, Japan
Ooh,
is coming. I
that's
will tell you
exciting.
guys about that because we can plant the seed here. I already planted the seed about my healer doing a retreat, but they don't know that me and you are going to be involved too. But like it's the magnetism because, it's interesting because I can see this perspective because I used to be a business coach for a long time, as you know. And I really see like that so many people are trying to fill their yoga classes, trying to like like putting on an event at the planetarium and then being stressed out they're not going to sell the tickets, and trying to create or do business from the mind. And oh, this thing would sell, this thing would make money, this is what people need even.
Mm-hmm.
Versus what's different with you is you're doing these things. It's like the inside out. You're doing these things because they bring you joy. Like, oh, I want to go to India and bring a group of people there. I want to go to Egypt. I want to share this sound bath. And it's like for your own joy and you're connected with yourself so deeply that you bring it to the community and everyone wants it because you're not doing it to get clients, to get like to have the next strategic tier of your business. It's coming from soul. Like it's
Yeah.
coming from your soul. So then it's magnetizing everyone else's souls. So there's just so much to that.
Well, exactly. It's like it's coming from a place of the child in me, the playful, the joy, cultivating what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What do I want to see
Yes.
and share with people because it excites and inspires me. I'm embodying it. So it's coming from
Yeah.
that place of authenticity, absolutely. And I think that's part of the magic is that when it comes from that place, then it translates in, like you said, yes, filling up my workshops and classes and stuff. It attracts people because I'm inspired, they're inspired, it's exciting. But don't get me wrong, there's always that fear of like, oh, are people gonna like this? Is it gonna get there's
Of
always that,
course.
but
Always, for
it
sure. I have that
it
too. Yeah.
it doesn't trump me not
Yes.
to do
No.
it. I'm like,
Yeah.
why not? I'm gonna
Yes.
do it because it's fun and I want to do it and it's an inner calling and a feeling. I'm being like guided or flowing in that direction. Like there's a natural spiritual pull. So I know when it's a yes and I know when it's a no. I feel it in my body. If there's blocks and roadblocks, I'm like, okay, no, this is just not happening right now. Like me and you, like the podcast. Like we've been talking about doing a
Yeah.
podcast for like years and years and years. And we were planting seeds, but we never forced it. And now
Yes.
naturally it's magically happening now. Many years later, you're like, what, you're 5 years into your podcast or something? So,
Yep.
and I love that because it's like when you feel the natural like flow, it's like, okay, I'm being guided to do this. I'm doing it and let's do it. And like I won't be so scared about the numbers and the next tier in the business. It's not about that. It's like
Yeah.
at this time in my life, it's like what's bringing me joy, what excites me, what do I want to do creatively, and how do I want to express myself and show up at this moment and chapter in my life because it changes and it will, and I welcome the change. I welcome like what's it going to be in my 40s, 50s, 60s, like every chapter is exciting and new. Every year, so much can happen in a year. And I love the mystery and being like going on the fly, being inspired by just something I saw and be like, I'm going to try that or do that because I want to
Yeah, because
see.
And most people would just stop. Like most people would just be like, okay, I have my line now. And they just put everything into that. And you're like, oh, what about this thing? Oh, you are also a manifesting generator. So that I think that also plays a part here. But it's like, it's so cool. And I also was thinking like when you are doing something from deep joy, people want to hang with you because you're joyful. You feel good. When you're doing things that feel good for you, people want to hang with you. So of course they're going to want to come to India with you. Of course they're going to want to come to Okinawa with us. And Akiko.
You know what?
Of course, they're going
It's
to want to go
yeah.
to the next place, right? Because the magnetism is your energy frequency. That's why they're coming. It's not, yeah, maybe they've always wanted to go to India, or they've always wanted to go to Egypt, or they've always wanted to have a sound bath. Maybe not, but it's your energy frequency and where it's coming from within you that has everyone that want to hang with you. So I feel like that's so relevant even to dating and relationships. If you're like empty cup, like, why aren't you making me feel good? Like, ew, do you want to hang out with
Mm,
that person versus the person who's, you know, in their own joy, in their own creativity, in their own energy, and then they're magnetic to be around because they feel good.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, and it's like I guess it can be simple, but it can also be something that we kind of have to like untrain or retrain or repattern ourselves into this way of being, this new way of being for some of us, and I think that yeah, I figured out a way that works for me, that keeps me happy and joyful and creative, and I'm like it's working, so I'm just going to keep going with it. And
Yeah.
why not? Why
Why
not?
not?
Why not?
One life. It
Yeah.
is woo you, boo. That's our
Yeah.
tagline. We're gonna get t-shirts. Woo you, boo. Also, okay, so tell us before we wrap, because obviously you and I could just talk forever and ever. We're 88% compatible.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
I think we're 100% compatible, but we'll see.
I think so.
Um, but I would love for you to share, like, so of course, we're going to link everything below. Some people don't look at the show notes. So for those people that don't look at the show notes, can you share all the names of your website and where people will find information about, well, where they can order the Oracle cards and
Hmm.
where they can order your wellness line, check out your wellness line?
Yeah, so farhadkhansound.com or farhadkhanwellness.com would be like my two sites. The wellness line, I'm actually relaunching. I'm changing the look of it. So in the spring, I'm doing a relaunch of it, just kind of rebranding a little bit and new bottles, new packaging, like really nice. So that's exciting, but you can still check out what I currently have. And then my Instagram handles are usually the most up to date because that's where I'm on a lot with my events. So my Farhad Khan Instagram, and then Farhad Khan Sound, other Instagram, Farhad Khan Wellness. And I do have Farhad Khan Art and DJ Farhad Khan because I like to make music. No, really, I got into DJing because I do a lot of like yoga classes and I love creating my own playlists that the music seamlessly weaves into each other. So I know too, like it's all timed. Like I take people on a yoga journey essentially, and I love music is such a big part of it and movement with
Huge.
music. So I really think of that and what I want to have during a certain part in the practice. And so I learned to DJ because I'm like, I'm just going to learn to mix my own music and create what I want for my playlists. And rather than like next song, pause, next song, volume up to this, volume down, I'm just like, no, I'm going to do it all perfectly. And I've done that and I love it and it's fun. Another
Oh
creative
my
outlet.
God, Kay. I have to say one thing because I remember something I was going to say earlier that this is relevant to it. It's like hearing your story. I imagine everyone's feeling so inspired. Your most magical year yet. Like we are the creators, we're the co-creators. We get to choose. Hearing your story, it's like you just keep meeting new parts of yourself. Like now I'm a singer and I'm doing an album with this woman and putting on shows at the planetarium. Now I'm
Yeah.
a now I'm a DJ. Now I'm a rapper. Now I'm an artist. Now I'm making these spiritual cards and I'm doing
Yeah.
fine art.
You
Like
know
you're just
what?
like, we're infinite, really. And I feel like you're
Oh
the
my gosh. And
representation of
we are
that.
the
You might be a
universe.
scientist next year. You might be a
We're
mathematician. Let's see.
maybe.
We're
And you
rocket
know what? And
rocket
it's like,
scientists.
who am I now? Who am I not? But it's like, I think I'm
Yes.
all of these things. It's a tapestry. It's
Yes.
a tapestry. It's like,
Yes.
you don't need to be like one thing. You can be. go for it. But like
Boring.
I'm just having fun with like painting, music, practice, sound bath. Like I want to do all the things I want to have fun and be inspired to do. And it's yeah, it comes back to why not? Like just if it's in you, if that desire and fire is stoked, go for it. Go have fun and play. The little boy never really got a lot of play, you know.
Mm,
So I'm living his best life at this time and it feels wonderful. And I'm just going to keep going with that because yeah, look, I'm DJ and the art and the wellness line and all the sound and the practices and the yoga and yeah, I'm going to keep adding to that and having fun and because I want to. The desire is there, the enjoyment and fulfillment. Um, it's a way of play and I think that's, really important in life. We take there's so, like you mentioned, there's so much happening in the world. It's confusing. There's so much hardship. There's a lot of dark and a lot of people running the planet that, maybe aren't making the best decisions. There's a lot of hurt and war and tragedies, so creating as much light
mm,
as we can and joy to help balance that energy out a little bit, I think is really key and vital for our human race. Getting off of
yeah.
the devices so much and dancing, embodying ritual, sacredness, paint, make music, sing. Yes, I'm going to be recording an album next year with Narinjan.
Mm.
I'm so excited. Writing music has been so healing for me and her. And I know she's been writing some music too and poetry and we're weaving those parts in and it's another healing journey. You're writing your book as well. Like I love this, right? It's
If there wasn't someone who taught us that there's like a right way and a wrong way, right? Like because as you're talking, I'm just like, God, this is what kids do. They write, they play, they sing, they dance, they create, they make up
yes.
stories, they make up movies, they make up like they perform, they love, they feel, they cry, they rage. They like little kids are the perfect example of just that fully expressed soul. So if you
Yeah.
couldn't do it wrong, like I just think like you say all these magical things, and then I can hear women's saboteurs in their minds saying like, "Oh, I couldn't, I'm not a good artist, or I'm not a writer, I'm not a this, I'm not a that." It's like that's just a story. We are all
Mm,
everything, and all you have to do is do it over and over and over again, and play this way and play that way, and do it from non-attachment, like for the joy
so
of it, for the experience of it. I went to dance class, high heels, in high heels and fishnet stockings and underwear and
I
twerking and hair
remember
flipping. And I sucked. And I was with a whole bunch of really good dancers. And it was a beginner class, but I was so bad. And I let myself be. I was like, you know
you
what? I'm
didn't
gonna
suck.
suck. And I'm gonna, well,
You
okay,
were
I
good.
got
You
better.
were
I got better.
sexy. You were good. And you
Okay.
became something.
I
Your
became something.
persona was like,
Yes.
oh, there's Miss Harlow.
Yes. Yeah. I became something. That's it. Right. But in the beginning, I was awkward, but I welcomed that too. I was like, okay, I'm just going to dance awkwardly and feel, and my mind's telling me everyone's judging me. And meanwhile, everyone's watching themselves. Like nobody cares. So it's just like,
Yeah.
could just like you said, bring playfulness to it, bring lightness to it, bring joy to it, and let yourself be weird and awkward. And you'll discover so many new parts of yourself like you have, and how beautiful your tapestry keeps growing. And I can't wait to see what's to come. Like, what else
Yeah,
is
no.
there?
And you know what? And I think a lot of it too is like it's that inner voice, that inner self, and we have many of them within us. And
Yeah.
and get to know that inner voice that tells you like, oh, it's weird and I can't like that's maybe the biggest one because the outside projections, like you said, they're not really thinking that much of us. So people are going to talk maybe for a minute and then they're in their own world and universe and they've carried on. But it's what's lingering within ourselves is that voice sometimes. And so really develop that loving relationship and nurturing it and talk to it and be like, you know what, let's be kinder to ourselves. Let's try that. Let's explore and think of the
Mm,
outcome ahead of time. If you're one of those people that already is more negative and fearful, go to all the steps to the end of it. Okay, so I do it and it fails. Okay, now what do we do? Okay, it can be a lesson. It can take me to the next thing. At least I tried it. Like, figure out the worst case scenario and make it better. Talk to yourself to that little child as if you're saying the worst thing that can happen, and then tell that child it's okay, like do it anyway, or you know what you learned, or hey, play with this next time, or whatever, like it's almost like let yourself go to the fear, move through, face the fear, and through it is the magic. The light is
Yeah.
right behind that dark veil, and
Open that door.
open that
Totally. That
door.
yes,
Yeah,
and it's only that little kid that feels like all the fear and only because they were shamed in school for not being a perfect artist or a perfect writer or perfect whatever.
yeah,
And like the school system, and many other systems have taught us to suppress and squash these parts of ourselves that because it would be a very different world if we were all expressed in these parts of ourselves. So be the
yeah.
change in the world you wish to see. This is such a fun conversation. Okay, before we wrap, tell us your retreat schedule, like what's coming, because definitely there's women all over the world that listen to the podcast, and I have a lot of community in Vancouver that listen too. So I know you got lots of local
Aw.
events as well. So share them all.
I mean, I have so many coming up next year. I have India, which is January, but that's going to be really tight for people to come when this airs. And then I have a local one at Loon Lake, Salt Spring Island. I'm doing my first silent retreat. I'm going to lead a silent one for 3 days for introspection. It's very powerful. And then
And Loon Lake and Salt Spring Island, for those of you that don't know, is in British Columbia. If you've never been, you want to go to British
Vancouver,
Columbia.
yeah,
Yes.
Vancouver, and Vancouver Island. And then I'm going to be doing south of France, Egypt. There is a whole bunch coming up. If you go to my website under retreats, you can find that. Under trainings, you can find trainings that I do online and in person for sound healing. I do coaching, I do private offerings as well. I have a treatment room in my home, which is lovely. I see clients privately for many things, which all my offerings are on my website. So you can check that out and just explore. And I'd love to see anyone at an event. There's lots of events around the city, in Vancouver mainly, but I do some internationally ones that are coming up next year too. So yeah, just gonna get out there and hope to meet a lot of wonderful people and build bigger communities around the world.
You are magic, and there's no one in the world that could fit this episode better than you. Your most
Oh,
magical year yet with I mean, you blow me away. I could cry. Just everything you've been
oh.
through and the fact that I've known you since I was 19 and I've seen you transform and alchemize and go through so much and transform and alchemize. It has been like an honor to
Hmm.
walk this life with you. I love you so much.
I love you too. And it
And
takes one to know one. You too, right back at you, Kate. You're doing amazing. And I love what you're doing. And I'm so excited to continue the journey with you with creating some
yes.
fun things in the future. Yeah, that'll be
Yeah,
fun.
me too. Lots of fun things coming. Okinawa, March 2027. Put in your calendar. There will be three magical souls leading that one, it sounds like. So if you're interested, I've actually already had a lot of interest. So
Yes.
if you are interested in, if you've watched the Blue Zones, Okinawa is a blue zone. It's the Hawaii of Japan. It's a beautiful island similar to Kauai, I think they say,
Yeah.
off of Japan. And Japan is such a hot spot right now. I've been longing to go there for a while. It's top of my list.
Yeah.
And
I love it there.
so life is bringing us there. And with my magical healer who I met in Nairobi, who's from Japan, she's absolutely amazing. And her mother is from Okinawa. So it'll be also a cultured experience and a really beautiful, we don't even know what it is yet, but it's going to be magical and fun because we're
Absolutely.
there.
We're
So
there.
definitely let us know if you're interested. And any final words? So this is it's those who are listening. Tuesday, it's the 30th. New Year's Eve is tomorrow. We're moving into 2026, which is the year of the fire horse, moving out of the
Yes.
snake. So a lot this year's a lot of transition, letting go, big transformation, and moving into
Mm.
new beginnings. So, what final words do you have for your most magical year yet? I mean, I think you've said a lot of things, but
You know
a lot
what?
of
And
magical
it's
things.
I'm actually the year of the horse. That's my year. I'm the horse.
Ooh, it's your
Yeah.
year,
So
baby.
78, baby. So the snake has been powerful, shedding a lot of self things, shedding skin and really fluidly moving like the serpent does, right? That Kundalini energy is really just awakened. And creating boundaries with people for healthy space. And that's a shedding to move forward. And now with the horse, it's going to be such a powerful, beautiful year. I'm so excited to just really both feet in, face forward, heart open, and collaborate, manifest, keep creating magic. And I wish that for everyone listening and everyone around. Like, just go for it. Go for it and have a beautiful year ahead. Happy New Year and be free, be your best self and live it up. Yeah.
I love it. Living it up in the city or the country, wherever you
The
live.
world.
Love it so much. The whole world.
Right.
Love you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This
Love
was magic.
you.
I'm so happy we did this.
Me too. Bye.
Bye. And as always, share this episode with every woman you know who needs to hear it and who needs a boost for the coming year. And share it with men. I feel like this is really
Yeah,
good for
I think
everyone.
I
So,
think people,
yeah, share
person,
this with everyone. Everyone you know.
everyone,
Okay.
people, persons, all. I love it.
All the people. Love you.
Love
Happy New
you.
Year.
Happy New Year.